splinter in your mind. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. Like a splinter in your mind.
Okay, it's about like the third or fourth time I've tried to shoot this video, but because of Karen I'm getting interrupted by customers. I love having customers, but on the other hand I'm trying to shoot a video as well, so it's difficult. Okay, so here we go. This is in relation to a private message about this guy whose name I'm not going to tell you, whose channel name I'm not going to tell you, okay? But this is the story, this is the situation, okay? It says, "Good afternoon, I am a Norse shaman currently residing in Arizona. I'm contacting you because I've been having, well, strange urges, thoughts, etc. For the last several months I've been having this thought literally pop into my mind about acquiring a Ouija board, something that I fearfully respect and have never played with. What disturbs me is the frequency of these thoughts and what exactly might be implanting them." Okay, well, before I go on to the rest of the message, I'm just going to go into that particular subject. Shamanism is actually rather freeform and is based more upon, your interaction with various personal experiences that you've got. You could possibly classify myself as being shamanic in that particular respect. Okay, my point is that shamanism is freeform, which means that you do it yourself. So you can use any particular form of tool, including idiomotor devices. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? And a Ouija board is a idiomotor device. Popular culture says, oh, this thing is evil, because that's a great way for Parker Brothers or whatever to sell, the Ouija board, because essentially if it's known by people as being spooky, then people are going to spend money on it, okay? So I personally am not fazed by any folk myths about what the Ouija board is about, so I wouldn't worry about that. Anyway, the message goes on and says, "Last year I went through a rather hellish ordeal which I shall admit here. During the crisis there were moments where I was pitted against depression and rage so intense that it almost drove me over the edge. There were moments in my weakness and sheer anguish that I felt I may have called out to malevolent spirits, offering my energy to enact vengeance on the people making me suffer." I'll stop right there, okay? Because that's a very basic human thing. Humans experience that once in a while. It's very common. It's not good, but when that happens, that's a sign that you need to get yourself stronger one way or another. So I would recommend counseling. I would recommend diets, nutrition, exercise, and sleep, and working on those things to look after yourself. And anything else you can do therapeutically to calm yourself down so that you can carry on with living a normal life. But as far as calling out to malevolent spirits, if you are a spiritualistic individual, then there is a possibility of thinking that you've actually done something which you might not have done through some kind of weird heebie-jeebie stuff. Okay, so the concern is understandable if you're approaching the subject from a occultic type paradigm. All right, that kind of concern is real, but is the phenomena that you think is happening really necessarily as real as you think it is? And I think that level of doubt and self-criticism is really quite important. The message goes on. "Although as far as I know nothing has come about those brief cries of help, I still feel a oppression lingers over me, and I ponder whether the spirits I contacted are influencing my thoughts, or if this could be something else." Okay, well, I'll stop right there. From my personal experiences, it does appear that there is a hypothetical possibility that a consciousness outside yourself might have an impact upon your thoughts to a certain extent. Yes, I personally am of the opinion that that might be the case sometimes. But can you always say that? And sometimes you get experiences in which you think there's some kind of spiritual intervention, but it can also be put down to other things happening inside yourself. Okay, such as depression, bad diet, nutrition, exercise, sleep, all the rest of that kind of stuff. Okay, having a part to play in the symptoms that you're getting. The message goes on. "Usually I do not fear facing spirits, benevolent or otherwise, and I find the experience enlightening, but lately it's been different. Additionally, I feel as if I'm losing touch with my faith and with the world. well, okay, I'll stop there very briefly. Losing touch with your faith is, again, a common experience. And you can get that back, because sometimes the way I see it is you lose one particular point of view, which you thought was the faith itself. But essentially, as you lose that, a more enlightened, a bigger picture faith, so to speak, can develop afterwards. So it can actually be a good thing when you go through one moment of losing your faith until you do some more research and go through more personal change, which will enable you to develop another form of faith. And as far as losing faith in the world, well, everyone gets that. Okay, we're in a pretty screwed up world. Okay, the environment's being destroyed. A number of indigenous species in this country are going down like crazy. The economy's screwed, and most people are pretty unhappy. So, and humans are pretty fucked up creatures, to the most part, humans are pretty fucked up creatures. So losing faith in the world is, again, very common. And when that happens, then you need to focus in on yourself and try and turn yourself into the message, so to speak. Because if you do that, then you have faith in your own ability to do good and all the rest of that, and therefore you can start to believe that maybe other people could as well. Maybe if they thought like you, yeah, fine, but on the other hand, maybe they don't. So don't worry about that, and carry on looking after yourself first and foremost. The message carries on and just says, well, what's your opinion? Do you think that this is a spiritual matter, or just lingering effects from the darker period in my life? And what of this desire to procure an Ouija board? Well, as far as your desire to get your hands on a Ouija board, they're great fun. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? So long as you think rationally about the experience and you've got enough self-doubt and self-doubt of the experience itself afterwards, after you've done your little seance, then essentially you won't go crazy. Alright, so you don't need to worry about that. And as far as, are there any lingering effects from a darker period in your life? Probably. Quite simply, probably. Because that's often the way that people seem to be. Now, is it a spiritual matter? I don't think we can probably say. I mean, full stop. We can't ever say. For sure. But what we can do is to try and tackle the problem from all fronts. So if you're not going to get yourself counselling, you're being stupid. If you're not going to look after your diet, your nutrition, your exercise, and your sleep, you're being stupid. But you can look after those things, and you can get yourself well. Okay, get yourself a doctor's appointment, get yourself sorted out that way as well, and start to develop enough doubt so that you don't get concerned that you're being attacked by spirit. Okay, so chillax. I think it's going to be okay. Carry on experimenting by all means, but also learn a certain quantity of doubt so that you keep yourself on track. Alright, look after yourself, and God bless.